think we should normalize hockey celebrations in golf.
Just hug, just
everyone.
Everyone in the group comes in and it's just a nice
group.
big, nice bear hug.
Up on the board, just go into the crowd and
go in the
they'll
crowd.
embrace you.
Yeah, okay, like a Lambeau leap, but
Yeah.
call it the I don't know what else. I'm terrible
the
at
fairway frog hop. I don't know.
They're just doing leap
Yeah.
route. Look at that celebration. They're doing like the NFL touchdown celebrations where they got to come up with they're playing duck duck goose.
It's just you and your caddy.
Yep.
Those are creative. I like those. The
When the
teams, I think,
NFL
get it
doing
all
it,
ready to go.
The Vikings were good a couple years ago.
They were like
And
they
it was
couldn't
the
do
Dicks
anything
year.
else, right?
Yeah, they did like gray duck. Gray duck, isn't that what it's called?
Well, it's duck duck goose is the proper name for the game. People insist on calling it gray duck. I don't know why.
Yeah,
It's wrong.
it is wrong.
They are wrong.
I'm pretty sure the Vikings Twitter page called it gray duck.
And they're wrong. Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
I've
it's
called it.
Well,
duck,
unless
duck,
that
goose.
was like paying homage to John Green.
Oh, Chad Greenway.
Chad
Chad Greenway. John Greenway.
Yeah,
Oh,
I was gonna combine some names there.
Interesting.
But Chad Greenway because it wasn't his.
Yeah,
Gray-
but his is wrong
goose.
too.
No.
Well,
Grey
no,
Duck.
gray. It's gray duck. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it could also be a playoff because they're both vodkas. So. Welcome back to another round at Sweet Shots. Lucas Johnson alongside Nick Johnson. I don't know how many times we've done this, Nick, where the parents have left,
Yeah.
the adults have left the room, or the adults now are in the room.
That's true. Yeah, the kids
with
are out.
those guys gone,
Yeah,
it
the
feels like
children
maybe
have left.
the guys are in the room. We got a rainy day here in Fargo, but we wanted to fill a spot. We needed something. We figured, you know what? It's been a great week in sports. Who better to bring in than Minnesota sports enthusiast? One of our first guests in a long time.
Long time.
Pressure's on. But one of our first guests in a long time, Mr. Josh Theile. Welcome in, Josh. Everybody welcome in. I will say I do feel overdressed for this scenario.
It's a rainy day. Both of us have the day off.
Only one of us has to work. And at least like when we do this with Mark and Chuck, at least
They're
Mark's
always-
he's got golf attire on. Chuck maybe not so much because he's
yeah.
getting his hands dirty. But I feel overdressed. You look very comfortable, both of you. Guns N' Roses.
I mean, you
fan.
look comfortable.
I feel like Nick's always
It's
wearing
good.
a
Miz
sweatshirt
and
or
main
something.
pants.
I was
They're
thinking about
good.
what I should put on, but
It's good. I
Sweatshirt's a
honestly
good
thought
play.
I was sitting downstairs. I thought you would wear your Wolves jersey.
I brought it.
Did you?
Yeah, it's
I
in the
figured,
car if
yeah.
you guys wanted me to go grab it.
Well, so Josh, tell the people who you are. How would you describe it? I gave you the intro as Minnesota sports enthusiast, but give a little background.
You're a big Twitter guy, right?
Yeah.
We've talked about this.
Yeah.
If anyone ever questions my Wolves fandom, I'll just pull up my Twitter.
Just start scrolling.
I have more than one account.
You have more than one account for
I don't know if I
Wolves?
want the people to know that, but I used to tweet about the Wolves on my Josh Theile account. But then all my friends and like high school friends always saw it and they're like, dude, so I made a Wolves account that I use.
Oh.
If you can
Like
find it.
do you want to shout it out?
No, I
here?
don't.
No, you don't. Okay, so it's
his
a little Easter egg hunt.
But
now.
I've
little
been
burner account.
I've been tweeting on that, having conversations. There's a real Wolves Twitter community.
I believe it.
Yeah. Has
And-
it leaked onto your page at all?
Well, not your.
Yeah.
I guess I wouldn't know if it's
But
yours.
just like Wolves talk.
You're not like the NBA paint guy that does
No,
that,
no,
right?
no.
Okay.
I don't-
Have you seen those?
Yeah.
Those are pretty funny.
I don't have very
like
many
that.
followers on
So
it.
I like personally, I haven't quite. This is the first time I've been this invested in NBA,
Mhm.
and it's because I'm a Minnesota sports guy. I've
Mhm.
never really been a big basketball guy, but you always follow along, and about halfway through the season, I'll check out because it's Minnesota
If they're
sports.
good or not.
Yeah. And it's same thing with the Twins. And I enjoy baseball. I will say I didn't start really enjoying baseball until I turned 21 and I could go have a beer at the
Yeah.
ballpark.
Yeah, that helps.
And just get a beer and a brat. And
Yeah.
it's like, this guy
Have
can
you ever
sit here all day.
ranked beers?
Ranked beers?
Like, what's the best beer to have?
At a baseball game.
Ballpark beer.
I'm always a light beer guy. I can't do like craft beers.
No, just like in a scenario, like airport.
Oh,
beer.
yeah, I got you. Yeah.
Airport beer.
But yeah,
Ballpark beer.
I've seen the rankings. I
You can also do it with hot dogs. And I think
could do a hot dog. I'll rank a hot dog.
at the turn,
Hot dog at the turn is next level, but I would say a 4th of July hot dog
Mhm.
at the lake.
it's a good one.
Yeah,
it would hit different. I do think the hot dog. I would say the 4th of July hot dog is going to be my one. I take that as my one.
That's good. Yeah. it's
If
good
you do a
ranking.
combo, though, like hot dog and beer, I think at the ballpark.
Yeah, I'd
Ballpark
say
would win.
ballpark.
Yep,
Yeah.
I agree.
Because those are individually, those are both going to be pretty high on each list.
They would both be in top fives.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Park
I think just anything in a baseball park in general is better than
Not many times do I find myself eating just peanuts out of the shell,
right.
sitting
Sunflower
at home.
seeds.
Never.
You're able to just toss them wherever. You can't do that anywhere else.
Yeah,
I mean,
as a
you
kid,
can
I-
like
mean,
at the
you can.
lake.
I mean,
that's
yeah.
pretty.
I suppose.
as a kid, I remember.
But I
my
mean, in
dad-
public settings, like you can't.
No, you're not just walking down the street throwing sunflower seeds at people.
Or like airport beer, like you can't throw sunflower seeds on the ground in the airport. Like
I wonder how fast TSA would throw you out of there. Be like, dude, what are you doing? I'm having airport sunflower seeds. What are you doing? Okay. How about this question though? What's the earliest airport beer you would have?
depends where I'm going.
Yeah, if it's like a vacation, you're on the way there.
Well, that's we're assuming it's a vacation.
Yeah, they're
we're
all
assuming
if
it's
you're on the way there,
like say you got
like
you got a 9 a.m. flight.
You're getting to the airport at 7.
especially when we just went, it's Zach's 21st birthday. I would have.
So you're like, whatever.
We were there so
if they're
early, the
open,
bar,
I'm taking
yeah,
it.
bar wasn't even
Yeah.
open, but we would have for sure.
Yeah,
They
but
don't just have beer.
But
vending
when we were
machines.
in, well, our layover, we didn't even though. Well, we didn't have time.
we were in Chicago.
Yeah, we didn't have. No, we had bagels instead of beers.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's close enough,
Close,
right? It's close. Both have fermentation in the process.
Carbs.
Okay, yeah. So
but if it's on the way home, I don't think you're even thinking about it.
you don't have an airport beer on the way home.
No,
I don't think it.
because I'll always have a drink on the plane going to my
Really? See,
destination.
I won't
Never
do that.
on the way back.
I won't have like an alcoholic drink on the.
Yeah,
I see. I just don't want to do that.
on the flight.
I'm not an airport guy. I like the airport.
I'll do
scene.
that too, but on the flight, just it's perfect.
It's the lack of oxygen that
It's getting to my head.
hits fast.
Yeah, it hits so fast. It's like I'll take
And no
one.
food.
Yeah,
I don't know if I have an opinion on it because this trip we just did was the first time I've flown being
no, yeah,
of age.
Did you have one on the plane?
We did on the way there on the plane.
yeah.
That was the only one.
I think I've had that once. It was a Vegas trip, I think, with my dad. It must have been on my 21st and your dad.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it was the realization that like, okay, a little less oxygen here doesn't exactly, I could just do the one, please.
Yeah,
That's
just the one.
fine. Thanks. Yep.
They do a good job with their combinations though. On
A lot of offerings.
Yeah, a lot of for a flight.
for a flight. Depends on how long the flight is. That's
Yeah.
my fault. Sorry. Okay, so you're a Wolves enthusiast,
Mhm.
and that's kind of
via
the
Twitter.
Via Twitter, like a lifelong Wolves fan. Then obviously, and I've heard the conversation as far as like in this situation. Can you consider you as a Wolves enthusiast? Would you consider someone from Minnesota a bandwagon that starts cheering for them like
right now.
today, right now?
No,
If they're from Minnesota,
no.
No.
Well, you can always be a fan. It's just they've been so bad since we were 5 years old.
yeah.
So it's like you've never really had any.
There's no reason to
Wagon
cheer
even
for it.
jump
Yeah,
on.
You were like
exactly.
a closeted Timberwolves fan.
They've
just
made the
'cause you
playoffs.
lived.
You
Yeah.
didn't tell anybody.
Yeah, you lived in the States, so you.
You just by association, you were a fan.
I've talked to people who are like, I have a jersey, but it doesn't fit me. It was when I was 5 years old.
Right,
And
yeah.
that's the last time they were good. So
Right.
Yeah.
I wouldn't judge someone if you're, from Fargo or Moorhead.
So okay, well,
Minnesota area.
how about if someone does from out of state hops on a bandwagon as a Minnesotan / North Dakotan? How do you feel about that? Do you just say no, we don't want you, or is being Minnesota nice kind of take over, and you're like, you know what, we'll take everybody we can grab?
I don't know. I think the traction is good for it.
Yeah.
I think the whole entire Lakers fan base cheered for the Wolves in that series against Denver because they hated Denver so much they can't beat them. So that whole fan base was cheering for
Cheering
the
for
Wolves.
them. I'll take that.
Yeah.
I'm
And
good
I
with that.
think you got all these people that are going to be coming to Minneapolis for these games. I think Charles Barkley post game after Game 7 told Ant that he hadn't been to Minneapolis or Minnesota in 20 years.
Which is crazy. I mean, I will say, like, he didn't even come like when the Super Bowl was here.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah,
he's
that's
lying
crazy.
a little bit, but
Yeah,
That just shows like Minnesota sports gets no publicity
none.
mm-mm.
And
on any primetime games. Everything.
Everybody always. It's like if Minnesota wins, doesn't matter what it is. If Minnesota wins, it could be a call the ref made. It was a mistake by
some type of
the other team.
Mhm.
Yeah, it wasn't like, you know what, Minnesota was just flat out the better team. And I think the series, for a lot of it, Minnesota was just flat out the better team.
like
And
you
Denver's a
just-
good team, but
they like you were just saying, like there's some type of excuse for it every time they win.
Yeah.
They get swept by Phoenix in the regular season. I mean, they lost 4 games to them, and then most of them were not close. And then we match up with Phoenix in the first round. All these media guys are taking Phoenix in 5. They're giving the Wolves like 1 win. We sweep them, and now the narrative after that is that Phoenix was just a bad team.
Yeah, the big 3 sucked.
I did
Big
see
3
that,
was bad.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, now they have the defending champs with the MVP. No one's picking the Wolves, especially without home court. And then the Wolves steal the first 2 and just chaos starts. And then we go down 3-2 and we win. And in the last couple of days, I've been seeing that people are now saying that Denver wasn't as good as they thought they were. And they're not the same team as last year. Jokic isn't on the same level. They just don't want to give any credit.
But that's got to go towards like the defense that the Wolves played.
Well, yeah.
Like if you make the team
crazy.
that you're playing look like that they aren't the team that they lived up to be.
Mm-hmm.
Like if your defense is like it, because that was my big thing. I would say one of the first, the game 1 against Denver. I watched a little bit of the ones against Phoenix, but I never really watched a full game. And we always kind of joked like I would leave at third quarter, and I had to leave at third quarter because that was the good luck. But the game game 1 when I watched that, the defense that you were watching from the Wolves, you knew, even me as not a big basketball guy, you knew was so textbook. It doesn't matter who they were playing.
Yeah, it was
going to be so hard to score points.
They just aren't comfortable for 48 minutes because you're just constantly.
Well, you have to force them to do something. You have to force them to make an adjustment they don't want to have to make. And then say Jokic wasn't playing well or who was their other shooter? Murray. He was cold.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of the formula. You make them get away from what their stars are. And that's in any sport. And I think that's just.
Yeah. You look at it not just from like a standpoint of one game where like Jokic or Murray struggles. It's like, oh, maybe they just had an off night. But then it's like there's kind of a lot of stuff to back it up because did Kevin Durant and Devin Booker just have a bad game for all 4 games? And now Jamal Murray and Jokic struggled for 7. Like
right.
It starts.
There's something to.
Yeah.
It
starts
defensive.
At some point, you got to realize that it's the defense making them uncomfortable.
Well, and I think that's the thing is like to your point of defense, like the NBA right now is so offensive paced and based that like the Timberwolves are being so discredited because
they're a defensive team.
It's just
right?
our defense is showing up and Nuggets offense isn't. And so when the Nuggets aren't putting up big scores, it's like, oh, the Nuggets are bad.
They're
it's
off.
the Nuggets.
Yeah.
It's the Nuggets. It's not the Wolves because no one cares about defense. They're caring about the offense.
I think that, yeah, you could definitely make an argument that with good defense, it's not flashy. Mm-hmm. And so people are going to make the argument like, oh, hey, that team they were just off. Because normally they're just ripping everybody up. And
the Wolves are so opposite because their defense is as good as it is and their offense is not. Mm-hmm. When you have Rudy Gobert and Kyle Anderson on the floor at the same time, it's pretty much 2 zeros on offense.
Yeah, they're just going to shut you down.
That's like a +2.
Yeah.
And the way the Wolves even half their points are just defensive oriented, like it comes from steals.
Well, the turnovers, the first couple, like those first 2 games in Denver, the turnovers were unreal. I think Jokic had like 6 in the first half,
averaging
or something
like 10
like
a game.
It's definitely a different brand of basketball that you haven't seen in a long time.
Well, exactly, and that was it. Barkley was talking about. He's like, you've seen this back then, but they had it filled. Rosters had the spots filled with little guys, just short, fast little guys, and now you got these big guys that leave zero room. Where are you supposed to put the ball?
Yeah,
it was actually fun to watch, and watching the game 7 was the first time I think I felt. I don't know if pride's the right word or whatever, but it's like I didn't feel like we were completely out of it at half. Because I knew it was just like, as far as I thought if we could get half to somewhere around 10, you get sneaking inside 10, and then all of a sudden, because we had a 12 to run one run or something like that in the first, it's like, well, you can do that again.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not.
Yeah, you can get those out within 2 minutes, and it happens
really,
so many
really
times
quick.
every game.
Yeah.
And when you have a defense like that, when you can go, you know what? No, the defense needs to have 3 stands where all of a sudden you take a defensive rebound or a steal or something, and you turn that into 6 to whatever it is, 9 points, 12 points. All right, we're right back in this thing.
A lot of momentum.
And it's huge momentum. I think that's just a good defense. But that was a fun game to watch. And they've got, who do they have now? Mavericks?
Dallas
Mavericks. I wonder if our number one fan, Mr. Bob, is going to be
Yeah.
if he's a Mavericks guy.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Mark and Chuck will be able to answer that.
Yeah.
But it's if he is, best of luck to him. I know
Stars are still alive.
his stars. They took out my Vegas Knights, which good for them. But I don't know what the score is on that. And then
That's something I've not paid attention to at all. I've not watched one game of the hockey playoffs.
I think Boston.
I watched that Game 7 a little last night.
Did you?
But I watched the first period. It was 0-0.
Couldn't even tell you who the two teams that were playing.
Boston and or not
That was
Florida,
Edmonton.
Vancouver and Edmonton.
Vancouver
Then
last night, Game 7.
Brock Besser was out. UND guy. He was fun to watch, but
Yeah, I have not watched
two
a
Canada
second
game?
of anything. Like maybe in passing, I've looked at the TV. Like,
it's just so hard when I legitimately just being from Minnesota. I struggle I struggle having a second team because I think it's a bandwagon deal, and I'm just complacent with being like, there's always next year, so whatever. I'll just check out and you watch. If it's on, you watch. If not, you're just whatever. But having somebody in the mix now, this is fun. Where are we at in your enthusiastic or in your expert opinion? Where are we at for Dallas? How do we feel for? Because it starts
tomorrow.
Wednesday, so we record Tuesdays. It comes out tomorrow. This will probably come out late Wednesday or Thursday. So this is basically
Game 1 will be done when the people see it.
Most likely, this will be your expert prediction. Clairvoyance is what we'll.
I don't know if it's obviously it's a little biased, but I generally think that the Wolves are just a better team than Dallas is. Deeper. They might have two guys that are better at the top.
So they have
Luka
Luka was on
Kyrie.
it.
Yeah.
Like those guys, they're going to be hard to deal with for 7 games. I don't think you can stop them, but it's the rest of the guys. The Wolves are deep. I just think they're a better team. They're bigger. We have the perimeter defense like we talked about to hold those guys. Maybe not to superstar-ish stats every game.
Are those guys? Do you think they're going to keep because I know they kept Jokic and he sat for 1 minute in Game 7.
See, but that's the other thing. Luka's pretty banged up right now. They had a tough series against the 1 seed, beat him in 6, and Luka did not play well. They still won though. They had a lot of guys stepped up, but I just think the Wolves' depth is a lot better, and that's gonna.
I think they say it. Defense wins championships.
They do.
I think
We have said that. I've heard that before.
And it travels.
Defense travels.
We
proved that. I mean, Denver. Go against Denver in their house.
We won 3 games in Denver.
Yeah.
And I think Game 7 you could probably put a little more weight to because it's Game 7 in Denver, and you came back, largest comeback victory.
Yeah, my biggest worry is the fact that we did just beat the defending champs with the MVP on their team in 7 on their home floor. I feel like a lot of the Wolves are a little bit higher than they should be right now.
Yeah, could be content.
Well, just look.
That happened with the Vikes after the Minnesota Miracle.
That was our finals.
Miracle.
Yeah,
that was our championship.
You look at.
It's happened before, and I think that's where we're at.
I know,
Yeah.
and
that was what worries me.
I saw a tweet. And go back to Twitter again. Some guy said that old Minnesota sports fan in your head right now. Get rid of him because it's not the same team.
You think so?
I don't just listen to this.
Okay,
I'm gonna put some facts on the table right now.
All right.
Game 7 in Denver against the MVP, the defending champions. You're down by 20 with 10 minutes left in the third quarter. Jamal Murray has 30 at halftime. Jokic had 18 rebounds or something crazy like that. They end up combining for almost 70 points in that game. Game 7 at home, they combined. Their 2 best players almost combined for 70. Our best player ends the game 6 of 24 from the field.
Yeah.
Do you win that game?
Not off that stat sheet.
No, and they outscored them by 30 in the second half. And you win that game.
It's crazy.
I think that's just the type of Minnesota sports, because I was pretty down in the water when they were down 20 and 10 minutes left in the third.
He was outside pacing.
I was pacing. I had to catch my breath.
And then it's like you talk about, being down by 20 and you're like, you know what? This is it. This is all I got. And then on the flip side of that, the games that were up 30 and you're still probably pacing because you're like, it's Minnesota sports,
Yeah, I'm still so nervous when they have a 25-point lead. I'm like, there's still enough time for this team to make a run.
Like, if we can do it, why can't they?
Yeah. But I don't know. I think this team's a lot different.
Okay, so let's do this then. I need your expert series prediction. Biased, obviously, and that's fine. Series prediction.
I would say Wolves win in 6 or 7.
6 or 7. We're going the distance again.
I'll give them 2 for sure. I wanted to say 5, but they're really good.
Do you think? I feel like we match up Luka really well. Though.
We do.
Like we could honestly, like Luka's still going to put probably 25 up. If we play him well, he'll put 25 and 30 instead of 40. But like
you got to limit his production.
Yeah.
He's still going to produce, but you got to just limit.
You got Jaden, Nikhil, and maybe Nas that's going to go over there.
Which you probably don't even realize. So I saw this stat from Game 7, or not from just Game 7, the whole Denver series. Mm-hmm. It showed Jamal Murray's possessions, like every single possession he had and who was guarding him and what he, like percentage-wise, what he shot on when certain people guarded him. Ant had the best. He had the lowest percentage against Ant, was like 30. Jaden was at 34, and then Nikhil, those are the 3 guys who guarded him the most. What do you think Nikhil's was at?
40?
65% he shot against Nikhil.
Nikhil's just so much smaller.
Yeah. It's the energy thing for him. But, like you were saying, you got 3 guys who are going to just hound him, and he's already beat up. If that's the thing that helps the Wolves the most. If the series extends,
the longer it goes, the better our chance.
The better. Because, Game 7 in the altitude. Like people say that's a huge thing all the time.
Don't even think about that.
And we looked like we were just boom, 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 and the Nuggets looked tired.
Yeah,
well, that's the thing. Tired. We have so much depth. Like we can rest her. Like
they played.
Jokic could only rest for 1 minute.
They went 8 deep, and when you bring in a guy like Nas off the bench, it's just another
6th man of the year
booster right there.
That's a good squad. Okay, so you're saying you're going Wolves in 6 or 7?
Yeah,
I'd say Wolves in 6.
6.
Yeah,
you win on their home floor again.
Yeah. Because we'll go.
And that's
how big is it for home court advantage right now?
I honestly think
matter?
The Wolves are a better team on the road.
We have been this playoffs.
I think they're still. I was thinking about this on the way here. I think they're still young to a point, to where, I mean, you go to Denver, you win the first 2, you just beat the crap out of them in Game 2. Yeah, you come home and they get super comfortable. Yep. I mean, they could probably go to any restaurant they wanted, and they're not going to pay for a thing. They're sleeping in their own bed. Just that intensity is not there. And then they get their butts smacked in 3 and 4. You go back to Denver, they put up a much better fight. They end up losing that one. But I think they're still young to a point where they get super comfortable. Mm-hmm. And when you're on the road, it's you in your hotel room. Yeah, your team.
Well, you're locked in. You're there for a job. You got. I mean, it's in any sport, whether it's whatever it is. If you're sleeping in your own bed, there's a benefit to that, but there's also there's a comfortability where if you're not locked in, you still got to be locked in. Mm-hmm. Everything's you got to lock in.
Yeah, but when you're not, driving, you're not a team bus. You're driving your own car in.
Yep.
Yeah,
get to. Thinking about a lot of these kids are 23, 24, 25 years old.
That's
they're going home.
Too.
They're playing video games with their friends. Like they're up late. Yeah. They're sleeping for 7 hours, and they're driving to the.
I see it with Ant a lot. Years ago, he wants that kill shot.
Yeah. And
when you go up 2-0 on the road, you come back to Minneapolis, that crowd is just insane. And he you can see it. He comes out and he wants to bury him right away, and the possessions just get bad.
Yeah.
And then they get down 15, and then it's where I remember it would have been Ant's second year when they were in the play-in. They played the Clippers, and this was not healthy Clippers, but it was Paul George. Kawhi wasn't playing, but we played them in that play-in game. Winner makes the playoffs, losers are out. Mm-hmm. And Ant was, he was 20 years old at that point, and you could just see it. He wanted the kill shot every single time. It was a close game, whole fourth quarter, but just in this instance, he made them. He made those shots and beat them. But I've seen so many times throughout the next 3 years that he tries that, and they're not always going to go in the hoop.
Yep.
But I think he's gotten so much better with that.
Mm-hmm. I think there's the squad that's around him too. Mm-hmm. Like I saw his interview yesterday. Like, what'd you say? He was 6 for 12.
Yep.
And like the other guys had to step up, and they were able to do that. Mm-hmm. I mean, we were
carry the load while he has to figure it out.
If he's not figuring it out, he said, "You know what? I just got to go play defense. That's my role now. If I'm going to be off."
And that's the awesome thing about him is if he wanted to, he could be a first team all defender. He's 6'5". He's 240, I believe. Just a pit bull.
Yeah.
Athletic.
Beast.
Probably one of the most, if not the most athletic guy in the league. Slide his feet.
Well, he makes it look, if he's 6'5", 240, he makes it look like he's 5'10" and 180. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like he's just floating around there.
What was I going to say? Oh, yeah. So his offense is not going at all in that first half of Game 7. And in the second half, the Wolves made the switch where Ant's going to guard Jamal Murray.
Mm-hmm.
He scored 5 quick ones, which put the Nuggets up 20. From that point on, Murray didn't score till like the 4-minute mark in the fourth quarter. He was 1 of 7 with Ant guarding him. Barely even could touch the ball. He had like 6 turnovers in the second half. That's just the type of thing that travels with them. That you can depend on that every single night.
Well, that's the big thing. Going back to like talking about how Nuggets they're getting discredited for being bad, and the Wolves aren't getting any credit. It's all Ant. I mean, you look at like the Knicks series. What was the big talk? It was Brunson putting up 40 points every game, going crazy,
like 5 games in a row or something like that.
And so everyone expects Ant to do the same thing, but it's like they don't look.
They're completely different.
So different. They don't look at his defensive side.
I think
like
Ant in the playoffs right now
Brunson's not going and locking anyone down on the other side.
He's kind of built the same too.
Yeah,
he's a little shorter,
but. It's just like that's the narrative of the playoffs is like who can put up the 40-point games consecutively. Like,
well, that speaks to like you said,
so many 30-point games as a young player, which like he was hot for a long time. But like
when he
understands his role. I mean, he's not going to shoot 40 times a game.
Well, not just his role, but the role of the team. I think everybody's aware that when they win, they play really good defense, and everybody's bought into that.
Look at the Knicks; they were up 3-2.
Mm-hmm.
Brunson can't get it going, and they lost 2 straight.
Yeah, he was cool. I
mean, if you take Brunson out of the game, I don't know what else he's doing defensively to help you.
That's exactly what happened.
And whereas
Game 7, he broke his hand. He left the game.
They got
smoked.
The difference with Ant, I mean, he can just go to the other end and make your life a living.
That's what you need.
Yeah,
that's what you need.
But this Maverick series, I think that we wear him down. We're just
the longer it goes,
defensively, we're just so deep, and they got 2 guys who can really hurt you.
Yeah. I'm excited for the series.
Defense wins championships, boys.
We'll see.
This is good.
Do you think this is? I mean, maybe our last question for Bat. Do you think this is the? I think we can keep a lot of these players going for the next couple of years, but do you think this is our chance? Like, if we don't win this year, are we ever getting back to the finals?
I don't know. The league just gets better. I think you got Rudy for 4 more years, but he's already 32. I think at some point you look at different options. Cat's signed his extent. This is the first year of his extension. He's here for 5. Jaden just signed. Nas just signed. Ant obviously is 6 more years. I think the only odd one, Conley just signed a 2-year extension. The only odd one out right now is Nikhil. Which he's important, but I also think
he knows he can leave. I mean, he can probably get paid somewhere else. But do you think this is this is it? This is our year?
I don't know how to answer that question. I've never even had to think about that because they've never been.
Never been our year.
Honestly, so I don't watch the games usually with people.
Yeah.
But the other day, he was surprised when I asked him, like, you want to watch the Wolves tonight? Game 7? And he's like, this is so unlike you.
I literally texted him. I'm like, you like actually want me to watch this with you?
And I was like, I sat there and I thought about it, and I'm like, my dad, I get it all from him. He's a big Wolves fan. And I was thinking about him, and I'm like, he hasn't seen this in 20 years. And like, in the NBA, it can come and go so quickly.
Oh, yeah.
Like, next year, I mean, I don't know what will happen. There's a good chance they don't even make the playoffs for some reason. And when you're in Minnesota, you just don't get that traction of free agents. Like, it could be another 20 years. Yeah. And I'm like, if this Game 7 goes really well, which it ended up doing, watching it with your friends is like one of the best feelings ever. Instead of me sitting in my room, lights are off, and I'm just sweating this one out. I'm like, if it goes bad, at least, I got some friends with me that I can.
It's a good experience. It's a great experience.
And never going to forget.
No, not at all.
Like that game. I mean,
yeah.
I might go get a tattoo just to a Nasri tattoo.
Let's give it a couple more weeks. Let's just see. I've been a Minnesota sports fan that long. Let's wait a couple weeks.
Yeah, you're right.
But I like it. All right. Yeah. So we are a golf podcast.
Yeah, we should
probably start to pivot towards that. Obviously, great. We were a Wolves podcast, which I think in the world of sports right now is it's what the world needed. Was a Wolves podcast, but we were talking. You're not the biggest golf guy when it comes to watching golf, but how about this? This I think precedes just golf. How about the news? Breaking news. Of the world #1 golfer, Scottie Scheffler gets arrested on Friday
Notoriously
morning.
One of the nicest guys on tour, I think.
I don't think there's not a bad bone in his body.
No. Like,
did you see this?
Yeah, I saw it.
Just doesn't, when you sent it, because you sent it into our group chat.
Yeah.
And the next text after the link to, I don't know if it was a Twitter link or whatever
Yeah.
it was, but the next text was, "This is real."
Dude, I did
Just-
I legitimately I was driving in the car with my father-in-law who is not a golf guy at all. Like he's and the fact that I'm trying to get him into their family kind of, they want to come out and watch all this stuff. Great. But very surface level at best. And I'm driving and we're having a great conversation. And this is in the morning. We had to leave. We were going to Bemidji. We had to leave at 5:30. So we're driving and I don't know when it broke. It was probably like
early.
7,
Yeah.
not even like 6:30.
6:30.
Just backcountry of Minnesota. We're just chatting about anything, and I get a buzz, and it's a notification. It says world number, and it's not like it's not a golf notification. It came from somebody like a news something,
Like a new,
like Newsmax or whatever it is. Anyway, and it was world number 1 Scottie Scheffler arrested Friday morning. Going, and I'm like, what?
And when
What
they
do you
say,
mean
like,
arrested?
Friday morning, it makes it seem like he was out like drinking
Yes,
Thursday
That's
night.
what I
know.
thought
Like,
anyway too.
that's what I saw because originally I clicked right away and see the video, and it's like someone's recording. And I'm like, and it's so dark because
It's
5
5:30 in
a.m.
the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, was he out? Like, there's no way.
There's
He was
no
out
way
drinking.
because that's the exact same thing. Like my mind went to a Tiger Woods scenario
Yeah.
or like a John Daly scenario, like all night out partying. He tries to make it to the golf course and gets pulled over.
Well, Scotty did say he wants to kind of portray his game around Tiger.
Yeah,
So
right.
he was going about as close to he could if that was the case. But
That's and it's like I was in complete shock, and so I was still having a conversation with my father-in-law about whatever, and I'm trying to figure out as much information, and that's when I sent it to you guys because I was like, I cannot believe this is real. Because the first thing it was like, okay, it's not April 1st, so that's not. And it came from not somebody I follow, so then it's like, okay, well, what is going on? And I was trying to get it, so then I was like, this is real. So I'm freaking out. I'm sitting in the passenger seat. We're talking about whatever we were talking about, and I'm like, Dan, I'm sorry. I'm going to try and explain this as best as I can here, but this is like world-shattering stuff for the golf world when Scottie Scheffler gets arrested. And it sounds like it was a big misunderstanding.
I think they've already announced they're going to drop charges.
They're not, though.
Well,
That's the thing.
that was
There's a
not real?
development. So the prosecutor's office came out and said whoever put that out is incorrect, and wherever they got their information is false. So they should drop it because so by all accounts, and I don't know how much you know about this, Josh.
What happened exactly?
So the accounts, you've got 2 accounts. You've got the police report and you've got eyewitness accounts. And a lot of them, you've got multiple eyewitness accounts. But the police report, the official police report was, so there was basically a bottleneck that happened because either early Friday morning or late Thursday night, there was a pedestrian that got hit and was killed by one of the shuttle buses.
Mhm.
And so it created this bottleneck, and players still had to get to the golf course. And I guess Valhalla is notorious for him being impossible. Like Will Zalatoris and Cam Young got out like a quarter mile away from the.
I heard it was like 2 miles. They had to walk like
they
2
were
miles
walking. They just got out of their cars and they walked
to the course.
They
had to walk like 2 miles.
And so it's just terrible to get in there. Well, Scottie was in line to get into the place, and the PGA Tour players have marked vehicles. They're courtesy cars, and he was in line. There's a whole big kerfuffle that's going on. He's getting a sign, and he claims that he watched the reporter claims he watched other players go basically into oncoming traffic to get into the golf course so they can make their tee time. Scottie does the same. The police officer catches him and starts giving him instructions. Scottie misunderstands the instructions, continues on,
Oh, okay.
and the police officer latches onto his car
Jumped on the car.
and gets dragged.
Oh, I did not know this.
Like,
Gets dragged.
There's like
and
10,
he's like
10 yards or something.
yeah,
That's what-
he gets
But
yelling.
his-
He's yelling at Scottie Scheffler to stop. Scottie gets out of the car. He's like, what? The police officer goes up to him, throws him out of the car, slaps handcuffs on him, and everybody's like, what are you doing? And everybody was like, they didn't know who it was, and then all of a sudden they were like, that's Scottie Scheffler. And the reporter was just like,
Cop have any idea, you think?
no.
Like-
No way. So the funny thing, so the eyewitness was like, you know what, Scottie was making the move that everybody else made. and he was going at a speed at which you would approach a gate. So it's not like he's blowing 60 into oncoming traffic. Right. He's making a move, like you're going to get out of line and you're going to go follow whatever. And you're pulling up to a gate. And he got out and was very well mannered and he wasn't combative or anything. And it was just like this big misunderstanding. And the police report was like not victim, but like the person was combative and refused to listen and dragged him at high speeds. And
it was
said
his leg
got scuffed up and his police uniform was ruined beyond repair. Valued at like $80.
That's what the report says. That his pants are ruined beyond repair. Did he just gas it as soon as the guy grabbed him?
Yeah, he sees a guy hanging on his car, and you're just like, I'm going to go much faster now. Scottie Scheffler, we keep forgetting. It's like, this is Scottie Scheffler.
Makes no sense.
How about imagine being Scottie's wife? You just had your baby. You're back in Texas. You might be up with the baby because it's a newborn.
Yep.
And you turn on the TV. Let's see how my husband's
Scottie's mugshot.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's the thing. He's being charged with 2 felonies and 2 misdemeanors for that instance. 2 felonies.
It's just crazy.
So they brought him in, they booked him. He said he did his morning stretches in the jail cell while watching ESPN and watching his arrest happen on TV.
Oh my gosh.
So imagine you're locked up in jail and it's 5 a.m. You're sleeping. You wake up, the gate closing. Your cellmate Scottie Scheffler.
Scottie Scheffler.
What the? What do you do?
So what'd you do?
Scottie's like, how long you been in for?
Did he end up playing well?
Yeah, he shot 5 under that day.
Really well.
He tore it up.
His first hole he birdied out of jail.
I mean, it was
that was
like
Max Homa. Did you see Max Homa's tweet?
Okay, what did it say?
It was like because Max Homa did not play well. He's like, not a great weekend for me. He's like, hell, I got beat by a guy who was in jail on Friday. He's like, it's like back to it next week or something.
I think some of the Scottie memes are just unbelievably good.
Someone like a parlay. They put like 5. It's a fake one, obviously, but I read it and I had a good laugh. It was like
something like Scottie goes to jail and wins or something like that.
Wins after being wrongfully arrested or something like that. 5 to win 700,000 or something like that.
No, and then so he played so well that day.
Yep.
Then the next day he goes out and shoots his worst round in
that
over
actually
40 rounds.
Yeah, so that was he broke that was the longest active under par streak on the PGA Tour, 41 consecutive rounds under par, and he broke the streak. Now a lot of people, here's the question, a lot of people are saying that Scottie's a system golfer because his caddy on Saturday had to go back for his high school kid's graduation.
Yep.
Scottie grabs a new caddy, shoots 6 over. Scottie's caddy, Ted Scott, is the only person, he has won 3 total two masters. One with Scottie, one with Bubba Watson. And so people are saying, Scottie's not a great player, but he's a system guy. His caddy makes the deal. Imagine being a system golfer.
Well, didn't he use a different caddy Friday, Saturday?
Just Saturday. I think.
Okay. Maybe not then.
Maybe it was Friday.
No, I think the whole tournament. I don't think his...
Yeah, no, he used it Thursday, Friday. Ted Scott was there Thursday, Friday.
I thought it was his friend that had the
No,
caddy
it
for
was
him.
the PGA Tour chaplain.
That was just on Saturday?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So,
Sorry,
just crazy in the world.
I placed...
Actually,
I don't bet on... I told Josh I was done gambling until I go to Vegas in a month on like sports. Just because the basketball world was so up and I couldn't figure out the playoffs. It's so unpredictable. But I had a really good feeling golf on Saturday.
Yeah.
So I placed a 4-legger on Hovland, more birdies. Xander, less strokes. I don't remember who else the third leg was, less strokes. And then Scottie, less strokes. I'm like, if he could go out and shoot 5 under after being in jail.
He could do anything.
He could do anything.
We were talking about that.
So I placed the bet, and I'm like, who would have thought? The one time I bet on Scottie Scheffler, this entire season, he ruins his under par.
Breaks his under par round.
I'm like, you just can't make it up. This is everything else hits.
He
Scottie
cost me one of those too.
The worst round of his almost like in this year. I'm like, oh, of course.
Did you see Prize Picks change his profile picture to his mugshot?
What did
Did they really?
Yes, it's
They're
hilarious.
so funny. They do some
It's so
funny
good.
stuff.
I had a couple underdogs that worked out. I was basically just chipping my way back up, kind of getting some field goals, a couple 2 legs, a couple freebies. And we didn't even talk about it. Xander Schauffele finally pulls one off.
Yeah.
The guy is notorious for never winning. He's like
Choking on
he's the
Sunday.
Minnesota sports of the golf world.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, he's been, what was this year alone? I think he's led going into Sunday 3 separate
He's
I
times.
was going to
there,
say
but
3
never
or
gets
4
it done.
times.
3
Yeah,
times.
he'll lead like going into
Sunday.
the final round.
And
And a couple times he played well. Like Rory McIlroy shot like 8 under to beat him.
Well, like 6 under in the back.
Yeah. And so like guys will just outplay him. It's not like he's playing bad all the time.
He just feels like he's content. Like, just go out there and make some pars.
He
and
just
I'll-
does his own
I'll
thing and
glide in and hope everyone else makes mistakes.
Yep, but he doesn't. So I'm really happy for him. He's a good dude, and hey, it was a long time coming on it, honestly.
Good for him.
And I don't know, Bryson. We talked about early on. It could go either way. I think I'm fine with him not winning.
I would have been okay with him winning. I would, didn't.
It would have been so annoying. So annoying. Not only from him,
Social media side?
just social media side, just everything with the whole, whether it's Live Talks, whether it's Bryson Talks, whether it's just,
Yeah, it would have been a lot of live.
I just don't need that on a major championship. Let him go win every Live tournament. I don't care. But
I feel like he's the least live V golfer out there just because
think-
he's so social media.
I
now.
think
Like,
he's
he's
so
making a name for himself.
he's probably the happiest Live golfer
Yeah,
that's out
that's what-
there
yeah, that's
because
how I
he's
feel.
doing what I think he always wanted to do because he has his
and he has
media
the time
rights
now.
and
He
the
can-
time,
Yeah.
which is
But-
good for him.
Mhm.
Obviously making enough money to buy a $10,000 set of golf clubs. He makes his own golf clubs. You know,
His own?
yeah. Well, he goes through a company, but they 3D printed his own set of golf clubs.
I didn't even know that was a possible thing.
Cobra
I
just
didn't
came
either a
out
while
with new
ago.
ones. Yeah.
Until he told me a couple weeks ago. I was like,
Apparently,
what?
they've been 3D printing golf clubs for a while.
Yeah.
Cobra
It doesn't even feel like it would work.
Well, you dip it in metal
Right.
afterwards.
It just
but,
feels so.
and they're probably not
fake.
using. They're probably
Not
using like
the
a
plastic,
carbon fiber.
yeah.
Not
It's
a
not,
carbon.
it's not a
fiber.
plastics club. Oh.
No, I don't think so.
But you know what I mean? Like, just the idea of it
Right.
just sounds
Yeah.
so far fetched that
Yeah, I
that could
think-
work.
It does.
Yeah.
I don't- yeah.
Clearly,
Clearly,
I do know.
Clearly, it
Dude's
works.
he's for how much crap he's given. He's a smart guy. I mean,
Yeah,
he uses so much science.
too much
His own-
science
too
for
much.
me personally.
Yeah, but he's
But obviously, it works.
Yeah.
It works. Colin Morkel, he played all right. Your boy,
I saw him on the list there.
Colin Morkel.
he was.
I hope
wasn't
he plays
leading or no second.
He was second, and I had to laugh because in his press conference it was like, "Do you feel like people forgot about you?" And he's like, "Yeah, actually, I feel like people don't cheer for me anymore," and it's kind of sad. And then he goes out and shoots like 3 over on the last day, or even par, even
Yeah, I think.
whatever.
Well, because he had. What year is he in now? 5, 6.
At least, yeah,
But in his first 3-4 years, he was winning a lot.
a lot. He was going to be the next guy.
Yeah,
And he won 2 major championships early.
early.
He
And I was like, wow, this
22,
kid's
23.
good.
Yeah.
And there was almost,
Oh, he
I
still
feel like,
is
because
good.
it was like COVID where he kind of blew up. Like 2019, 2020, him and Victor Hovland both kind of came on the scene at the same time and got big quick. Morikawa won all the big ones and then kind of fell off, and then Hovland started winning, and then now they've both kind of
There's
fell off
just
for a
been
while.
until Scottie Scheffler, it's just been a roller coaster,
Of
guys.
everyone.
Of it's
Yeah.
just like, yeah, they're really good.
But
and
those
come
two
on.
were like the big talk of these 2 young players who can actually get to that next level and win, and then they kind of both just took a dump.
Yeah.
And then Scotty came out of nowhere, and
Scotty's just this is a historic run on there, and even still, I mean, what did he shoot like 5 over, and he was still top 10.
well, and then because the last day didn't he shoot
Yeah.
another 5 under or
Yeah,
6
He
under.
was top 10. He's in
He made,
jail
6 birdies in a row.
That's so crazy.
Yeah.
and finishes top 10. Like nobody's gonna like if you get arrested, like wrongly arrested, nobody would have blamed
You're
you. Just
such a
be
head
like, you know
case.
what, I gotta withdraw, guys.
Yeah, I'd be such a head case going to you have an hour. He gets to the course at 9, it's teed off at 10.
Oh, that's what I do.
You're also sitting here in a chair right now talking about Scottie Scheffler. But
That's a good point. Yeah. No, I mean,
I don't
it's-
even get there, and I gotta get there 2 minutes before my tee time and walk out there
Just
and
go to the first tee.
But like these guys,
Yeah, no.
like you said, so systematic for Scotty specifically.
did
He only had an hour to
stretches.
get ready, and then boom, shoots 5 under.
5
I mean,
under.
that's crazy.
that is crazy.
Maybe I should go to jail before my next round of golf.
I can arrange it.
I think that could help.
Yeah. I got a
Should the
couple
best-
contacts.
I actually live with a cop. I'll have him.
Oh yeah,
Bring me
exactly.
in.
He was my contact,
Yeah.
so that'd be good.
Actually live. Yeah, he could just.
Tom Hoagie made the cut
Yeah.
pretty close, and then he played well coming down the stretch. I think he had a top 15 finish. So that guy just finds a way to hang around. He
Yeah.
is
It's a ball striker.
he's a ball striker, and that course was set up. It was long, but it was soft, so it was it was a birdie fest out there. Next, they've got the Charles Schwab at
Mhm.
Colonial. I don't know much about that. I didn't do much research,
I didn't
admittedly.
either. Yeah.
Next major, we've got the U.S. Open,
Mm-hmm.
which actually leads anybody can qualify for that. You could go out right now. Actually, it's probably too late, Josh, but
Sorry.
you could have
Dang it.
earlier registered and paid whatever it was, and if you keep winning, you get into the U.S. Open. So that's the nice thing about it. Anybody can go out and play in the U.S. Open. There's only been one amateur to ever win the U.S. Open, and there's a movie, The Greatest Game Ever Played. If you've watched that,
Watch that. Good
it's
movie.
a great movie.
There's a good one.
So there's golf's longest day is coming up, and I want to say it's Friday, and it's essentially the final round of qualifying to get into the U.S. Open. Everybody around the country tees off at the same exact time.
Like all these amateurs.
Yep, and professionals like you play in the same. So like Sergio Garcia was playing he missed a regional qualifier by one shot. He's a first alternate into the final round of qualifying. And he was playing with a bunch of amateurs, like Sergio Garcia. He's a major champion.
He's won the Masters.
Yeah, so
That's pretty cool.
that's what I'm saying for U.S. Open style. Like that's just it's what's cool about golf is anybody can go out there and play on the biggest stage.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that day's coming up on Friday. Everybody tees off at the same time. I think some of the best stuff is when there's like 6 guys for one spot or something, and they go into this big playoff, and a lot of times they'll play in like an 8-some or 6-some.
Yeah.
It's really cool. So there's your look ahead. I don't know what else.
Friday.
You got any final words?
No, go Wolves.
Go Wolves. Thanks to Josh Theile for hopping
no
on here
problem.
and
Appreciate
dropping
it.
us with some Wolves knowledge. That was a good first half of the show, and that's gives all of us hope in Minnesota, I think. Minnesota, North Dakota.
Let's win this thing.
Let's win it. Why not
Why
us?
not? Yeah, why not this year?
Why not this year?
Wolves back?
Wolves are back. I'm wearing the shirt, actually.
Are you? Your
Yeah.
Wolves back shirt?
Yeah.
See, this is the last thing, actually. He
Yes,
needs
another
to continue.
I'm super superstitious about this stuff.
The last thing, we got to hold him to it. Every game that we've won in this playoffs.
Okay.
Oh, am I wrong?
Yeah. No, you're right. Keep
Okay.
going. Keep going. I switched it up in my head yesterday. I have a final on.
Oh, okay. Before yesterday, every game we've won, he has gone and purchased some Wolves gear, and we've won the game.
So, before Game 7, I went and bought this shirt.
The sweatshirt?
No, I'm wearing
Oh,
the shirt underneath.
Yeah,
It says
okay,
Wolves
yeah,
back.
Yeah, okay.
But I thought about it, and I'm like, I don't want to go. I mean, there's a chance they play 14 more
We could
games.
get some funding or something.
It's fun.
But like, there's a chance they play 14 more games. I'm like, I don't want to go purchase. I mean, Shields is crazy with the pricing on it.
Let's get you. Yeah. I don't know.
So my new thing is, if it's an elimination game, I will go buy something.
Okay. I thought you were just gonna like DH gate, just a bunch of.
Yeah, but then I
You
won't
don't
have
order
it.
them now.
I won't have it till they start next
but
season.
The idea of purchasing something on.
Yeah,
game
I
day.
suppose. But I feel like I need to
Yeah.
have it physically.
Okay.
Maybe we'll see if we'll get you. Let's get you a fund.
I think
A
right now
Josh
we just-
Theile for the Timberwolves
Yeah.
fund. If you want the Wolves to succeed,
The
you have
GoFundMe.
to
Purchase.
you
Go
have to
purchase.
donate to Josh Theile.
It's the most
So
Wolves
he
gear
can
I've ever
wear-
seen at Shields.
I'm sure there's a ton right now.
Oh,
It's
it's
nuts.
the hottest ticket, I'm sure.
I've never seen Wolves gear in Shields in May.
I've walked by it by accident.
Yeah.
It's usually
No,
on
it's
the
usually
clearance
on
rack.
It's on
It's
sale.
like this probably won't fit.
Yeah.
yeah. well,
Okay. Well, you keep buying your elimination
stick
game
to it.
gear.
Let's do it. Go Wolves. I think that'll do it, right?
Yeah.
That's going to do it for us here at this round. For this round at Sweet Shots. Join us next time. Good luck out there. And we'll see you soon.